So, good afternoon to everyone. When I was invited for this event, and the theme being Rethink, Reinvent, Restore, I said, what should I talk about? And then I realized that my whole life has been about these three principles. Um, as an introverted kid growing up in Kolkata, all I cared for was books, journaling, and going to school and coming back home. To the point where my parents were really, really worried. Uh, More than parents, people around me were worried, relatives to be precise, that what would happen beyond a certain point. And the only way I could come out of that was by talking to myself, by having conversations with myself. And today, as I stand before all of you, hosting a podcast for the last 2.5 years, conversations around mental health, conversations around healthcare, conversations around gender, conversations around startups. The backstory to this has always been the one question which I have always asked myself, and that is, what story am I living today? Because that defines who we are and who we become tomorrow. I started off my career in the US. I was fortunate enough to work with Fortune 50 companies. We were a startup, so the company in Bangalore sent me to the US, and I had to pretty much manage all the clients. And I really did not have an idea in terms of their culture, in terms of the way they conducted themselves, in terms of the way how to close the deal. All I was told is that you have to go out there, we have a few accounts, start working, and build the market. And I still remember landing in the US, a complete vegetarian who does not drink, who's a complete teetotaler, so it's an absolute paradise for somebody like me. Going out there, and but the one thing which was always constant with me was, what story am I living today? And I think that comes to the fact that who you are, and I think authenticity is what drives everything that we do in our life. The clients I worked with went on to become some of my best friends. They invited me over for Christmas, for Thanksgiving, for their children's sports. And when I moved back due to personal reasons, and that was the COVID phase, I was sitting down, and one fine morning I receive a call from my client. And the first thing that goes to your mind is, did I not do something right? Or did I miss out something before I flew out? And the question they asked me was, how are you keeping? You are living alone in a city, in a new city, to be precise, because I had just moved back. Are you okay? Is everything going well? And that is when it struck me that over the past 15 years, I built beautiful relationships, great relationships with clients who went on to become friends. What happens to those whose stories are never asked, who really don't know who they are, what they are doing, at what stage of life they are in? And that is how the idea of my podcast, Between Us, came into being. I had a lot of stories to tell, stories which were very close to my heart. Mental health was one of them, because I have experienced it very close to my family. But I did not have any guests. I did not have any speakers. I happened to find a studio right next to my home. When I went there, I was expecting them to share a tariff card with me. But what really happened was, after listening to me, they said, let's begin this, Santosh, and instead of paying us money, let's co-brand with you and build this beautiful conversational platform. 2.5 years, 82 episodes done. I realized that they are no longer conversations, they are stories. And these are stories which not just impact a person or a industry, it can impact all of us. And so we institutionalized this podcast into a company which is called the Between Us Story Lab. We go deep into why the story exists in the first place. We research, so the kind of stories, as I mentioned, we look at education, we look at entrepreneurship, we look at healthcare. But what we really look at is, why do we need to tell this story? And that is where the power of Story Lab comes. Between Us means the first conversation we have. And the first conversation is the conversation we have with ourselves. And how we share those stories define who we become. Thank you.